Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome into episode number 40 of our WWE 2021 save in TEW 2020. This is SmackDown for week 3 in September. I will say up front, this is probably one of my favorite SmackDowns I put together thus far, and will be one of our biggest SmackDowns yet in the series. A lot going on in this episode, and I'll also mention that a lot of this episode is built around the main event. There are obviously going to be segments that don't revolve around the main event, but there's a lot of stuff in here that's going to play into what we have going on in the main event, which will be our big Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns and Damian Priest. So let's jump right in because we've got a lot to get to, as it is Ricochet getting the win over Dio Madden on the pre-show here, 48 overall. Ricochet is still benefiting from that hot new move. Thus far, has not necessarily benefited from his switch to SmackDown, as he lost his match to Sami Zayn last week. And then we got the email that Michael Hayes hated him to add to the list of about 837 people who do not like Ricochet in our company. So, big win for Ricochet here on the pre-show. Probably overstating that a bit. But he gets a win, and that's about all he can ask for right now based on what everyone thinks about him. All right, let's jump into the main show and kick things off. And we kick it off in a good way here, 82 overall. Basically, a little deja vu here, right? As we start off this episode of SmackDown, the same way we started off last week's episode, as it is the Universal Champion, the head of the table, Roman Reigns, still not happy with the Usos. They had their little meeting of the minds with the Bloodline, all meeting last week, and Reigns saying that he's got a lot going on right now, but he does not want the Usos to let that distract him from the fact that they're losing matches, and they've lost their championships. Jimmy lost to John Cena last week, and he's tired of this, and he's going to make sure this stops, or he will stop it himself. So they better basically get things into gear pretty quickly. So once again, Reigns sending a message to the Usos, and we see here that Reigns did not do well without a script to follow. We never get that. So obviously this could have been much higher here. But we'll take it. A good segment to start the show. And speaking of deja vu, what do you know? We get it again here as an 80 overall good segment here as the same scenario plays out that played out last week. So a nice little callback here as the Usos walk out once again, not happy with Roman Reigns. They're not happy with where things stand. And they run into our SmackDown General Manager Mick Foley, who last week said that it would be Jimmy Uso versus John Cena in the main event. Well, Foley, with a nice little grin on his face, says that this week it's going to be John Cena versus Jey Uso, and that match is actually going to take place right now. So the Usos have kind of got their backs against the wall here when it comes to what the expectations are from Roman Reigns, and now we'll see if Jey can do any better than Jimmy did last week against John Cena. So Jey struggles going off script here. That's okay, but 80 overall, another good segment here to set things up. So we kind of wanted to go back to that callback because it is going to play into kind of a longer-term story here. But I like how this sort of played out thus far. And the ratings-wise, it's really done well for these first two. Let's see how the match does. As it gets to 71, so not bad. As it is John Cena getting the win over Jey Uso. It goes 15-26. The SDF gets it done. So, once again, the Usos lose another match, even though they've been singles matches the past couple weeks. We will see what our Universal Champion for now has to say about that moving forward. But Roman Reigns probably not going to be too happy with Jey Uso here, as it is Cena getting the win. And that, again, adds another little bit of a development in terms of storylines moving forward here. So speaking of that, we have some more storyline development to get to. As it is, Sami Zayn backstage with Pat McAfee, and it gets a 72 overall. Great stuff here from Sami and McAfee here, as we see. Pat McAfee doing a really good job just in this interview role we moved into off of commentary with Cole and Graves on commentary. But Sami Zayn is back with McAfee, and he just watched the monitor, and he sees Cena celebrating. And Zayn is saying, you know what? I figured it out. John Cena is trying to one-up me. And Sami says, I know it. He is out there trying to one-up everything that I do. He gets put in the main event last week. It's conspiracy. Now he's out here trying to shove it in my face and one-up me and everything. And as we know, Cena did a promo last week where he basically said he had nothing to say about Sami Zayn and then continued on into his business before the main event. So Zayn really playing up his conspiracies here, and he says that he tells Pat McAfee he knows Cena's trying to one-up him. Well, Zayn's going to one-up John Cena in his match here tonight as he'll take on Jeff Hardy. So another kind of interesting promo from Sami Zayn, but he is full-on conspiracy mode right now when it comes to the one and only John Cena. So good segment here with this. So we really got a lot of green thus far. We'll take that to start this show. And then we go straight from Zayn exiting to Alexa Bliss is basically with Pat McAfee. And we see that Alexa Bliss is basically made her return, as we know. This 66 overall, not bad here. But Bliss says, McAfee wants to know why did she do what she did last week against Bianca Belair. And Bliss says that she is simply back to do bad things. And I wanted to mention this too. We changed her to the evil doer gimmick, and I know that was asked in the comments is she going to be like the possessed character and all that? Absolutely not. Like this is not. We're not turning her into the character she's played like in reality in WWE. She is just going to be an evil doer, someone who does bad things, and that's why we're kind of hyping that up in this promo. I do need to change the picture here. There probably is another picture that can go along with this. That's more of the kind of an old school, I guess, Alexa Bliss type look, where it's just sort of, someone who does bad things. And that's kind of what we're playing up here, rather than necessarily making her the possessed one and all that kind of stuff. So this was kind of that promo to play that up. McAfee notes that Bianca Belair not at SmackDown tonight, but he just wanted to know what's Alexa Bliss up to. She just says, all I can tell you is I'm here to do bad things. So that is Alexa's remark, and we will see what happens moving forward with Alexa making her return and going after Bianca Belair. And not great here. This was very disappointing. A 50 overall. My goodness. Jeff Hardy has really struggled in our save when it comes to having good matches. And that's the case again here. 50 overall. I am like, wow. This should have at least gotten a 60 because both these guys are about, in the 60 range or so. And it's really kind of a short match, 8:19. So maybe that doesn't help a little bit. Probably would have went longer, had a chance to get better score, but nonetheless, not a great match, but it is Sami Zayn getting the win over Jeff Hardy in 8:19. Again, Jeff off his game here. Still had a better in-ring performance than Sami, so that's interesting. But, a little disappointed in this rating. I would have expected this to be around the 60s somewhere, even if it's a low 60. But a 50, not real thrilled with that. But Sami Zayn gets the win, so if we're going by ratings, I don't think Sami won up John Cena in his match necessarily, but we know Sami. He'll have something to say about that moving forward. But it is Zayn getting the win here in this one. And then it's Keith Lee backstage, and Keith Lee retained the Intercontinental Championship against Apollo Crews, and he said that, hey, he's proven himself now this quickly, that he's come to SmackDown, and he's made an impact within a span of basically 1 month, and he's already won the Intercontinental Championship. He's already beaten the former champion. He is ready to take on all challengers, and that he is indeed limitless, Keith Lee, and we will see what happens here with him. But our Intercontinental Champion, very confident after defending his title, and we'll see what's next for him and who perhaps will be his next challenger. And that leads into a promo with Bianca Belair. I mentioned she's not in attendance. This is a video promo, which I don't know if we can actually specify that or not, but it is Bianca Belair kind of reacting to what Alexa Bliss said earlier. We get a video package of Belair. We get a 73 overall. She always has delivered to this point. No surprise there. And she tells Alexa Bliss, you know what? She's tired of all these women coming to SmackDown and trying to attack her. And like Charlotte Flair, now Alexa Bliss, trying to take what is hers. And she said if Alexa wants to fight, meet her in the ring next week. So Bianca Belair calling out Alexa Bliss for next week. And we will, figure out what comes of that with this. But a very unhappy champion, Bianca Belair, showing a little bit of an aggression here, that she's just getting tired of these people coming after her. But she knows she's the champion. She knows she has a target on her back. But she calls out Alexa Bliss for next week. So we'll see what happens with that. And then in a match that goes 2 minutes and 49 seconds, it is Drew McIntyre getting the win over Jackson Riker here, 64 overall, which I'm okay with. This is clearly done for a reason, as Drew just stand out, great performance here. But it is worth noting that this is simply we playing off of what we did last week. And if you remember, we had the promo last week where it was McIntyre basically saying that he had to rethink some things. He had sort of a blank stare when he was being interviewed, and he just said he had to rethink some things after his loss to Bray Wyatt, after getting physically beaten up by Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam. McIntyre said he had to rethink some things. So he has a scheduled match here against Riker. He comes out, still very little emotion. He walks in and basically just destroys Jackson Riker in less than 3 minutes here, and then just walks right out, walks right to the back, and that's that. So continues to be an interesting turn of events here for Drew McIntyre. More to come on this, but Drew simply all business here as he comes out, destroys Riker, heads to the back, and that's that from Drew McIntyre. So we'll see what happens moving forward from there. And then 91, great stuff here, as it is Bray Wyatt, who we see in a video promo, as usual from Bray Wyatt, in a mysterious location. It is Bray Wyatt saying that he sees what's going on with Drew McIntyre, and he understands exactly what McIntyre is thinking. He's had to rethink so many different things because once you see the darkness, you can't unsee it. That's what Bray Wyatt says about Drew McIntyre, and Bray says that is why he is here on SmackDown. He's going to continue to deliver the darkness to SmackDown. He's going to bring out the dark side in everyone on SmackDown, and by the time he is finished, SmackDown is basically going to just be all darkness. So Bray Wyatt, a very, not so ray of sunshine like promo here, but we know to expect that from Bray, talking all about darkness and what basically he is going to try to do to the entire roster on SmackDown. And apparently, according to Bray, he feels like he's already achieved that with Drew McIntyre. So Bray Wyatt, as usual, there's really nothing straightforward about this, but kind of playing in that little gray area of what he's trying to sort of push here on SmackDown moving forward. So interesting promo from Bray, and as usual, 91 overall, great stuff. We can't ask for any better than that. And then is Samoa Joe getting the win over Jinder Mahal, 11:46 here, 55 overall, not a great match. And as I've said before, this is clearly one of those shows that's built around much more of just our main events and a lot of angles that involve building up some feuds and storylines and such. So the match quality is what it is, but clearly here, Joe and Jinder both off their game here, so that certainly did not help. But it is Joe getting the win, and Samoa Joe has already, made his claim here on SmackDown that he is here to go after anyone and everyone. He will fight anyone, and that is kind of just played up here as Joe gets the win. Of course, as we saw last week, it was Joe sitting ringside for the Intercontinental Championship match between Keith Lee and Apollo Crews. But now, after the match, he gets the win, and Joe says that he's, wiping off, getting a towel. He's going to wipe the sweat off, and he's heading right back down to ringside because he's going to sit ringside and watch the Universal Championship match between Roman Reigns and Damian Priest. So, 66 overall here, not bad. But it is Samoa Joe kind of adding more mystery in terms of what is he exactly going to be after. Like, he said he was after everyone. Well, last week he's watching the Intercontinental Championship match. This week, now he's going to be watching the Universal Championship match. So, Samoa Joe was not kidding when he said that anyone and everyone was in his sights, and we will find out exactly perhaps what will be next for Samoa Joe after all this. But it was a little bit more, I didn't kind of want to lean directly into that direction last week of, hey, Samoa Joe's going after the Intercontinental Championship. We had kind of a bigger picture in mind here, and as you'll see, that'll play out over the next several weeks with Joe. But he's now coming back down to watch the Universal Championship match, and that is going to be next. But first, we get a promo from Damian Priest, who, 76, good stuff here, who says that this is the biggest opportunity of his career. He is getting a chance to dethrone Roman Reigns, the most dominant champion that WWE has seen in a long time. And Priest says this is his chance. This is his opportunity. He's been working for this, trying to get this final big, kind of defining moment for his career. And he says he's going to go out and take advantage of that and win the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns. So Damian Priest, a pre-match promo here, and that's going to lead us into our main event. And let's see what happens with our big main event, Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Damian Priest. Wow, fantastic. 83 here. I am thrilled with that. It is Roman Reigns defeating Damian Priest 15-21 with the spear. Reigns, his 15th successful Universal title defense. But I am more thrilled about this. 83 overall. That is, I want to say that's one of the best matches we've had thus far in our series. I'm trying to think, actually, could it be the best match we've had to this point in our series? We're going to have to go back and look at that. I'm pretty sure Daniel Bryan may have had a match somewhere that was 82 or 83, possibly, maybe 84, I don't remember, but we're going to look at that. But I am more than thrilled with this because this is only going to help Damian Priest, and we get our Universal Champion with another victory here. 83 overall. Fantastic stuff from these two. This is fantastic. So I'm loving this. This is a great match. Roman Reigns, Damian Priest gives it everything he's got, and so there's a lot of momentum here for both of these guys coming out of this, but we are far from finished on this episode of SmackDown. A lot more going on here. And it starts with 91. Fantastic. After the match, it is Roman Reigns successfully defending the championship. Priest is down, and Reigns, who just got a huge challenge from Priest, stands over Damian Priest and just starts taunting him. He's basically shoving the belt in Priest's face and really just mocking him as much as he can. A confident, happy, but very still aggressive Roman Reigns taking it out here on Damian Priest. Not just full-on attacking him, but he is letting Priest know that he was not going to take that Universal Championship from Roman Reigns. And then, out of nowhere, oh, so close, 99. The Rock comes out from the crowd, and he slides in, and he hits the rock bottom on Roman Reigns as Reigns turned right around into the Rock. The Rock is here. He hits the rock bottom on Reigns, and, I mean, what else do we expect, right? Anytime we put these two together, if we're not getting a 99 or 100, I consider it a disappointment. So, fantastic stuff here, as this is, just fantastic. Just what else can I say? I mean, we know what we're getting here. But Priest is down. Reigns just takes the rock bottom. The Rock is in. The crowd's losing their mind. Then it's The Rock grabbing the Universal Championship, which Roman Reigns had in his hand. And The Rock stands over Roman Reigns now, holding the Universal Championship high in the air. But before anything else can happen, Seth Rollins music hits, and here comes Seth Rollins with the SmackDown Money in the Bank briefcase. 82 overall here. Seth slides into the ring, and as he's going over to hand the referee the briefcase, he gives The Rock a bit of a push, gets The Rock out of the way, and now, Priest is out of the ring. We've just got all kinds of stuff happening here. The crowd has no idea what's going on as Rollins goes over, tells the referee he's cashing this thing in. He is cashing in his Money in the Bank opportunity. The Rock just gave Reigns a rock bottom. Reigns is down and out. The Rock's over here holding the belt. He just got pushed out of the way by Rollins. So Rollins goes over, hands the referee the briefcase. The referee steps out of the ring, goes over to the announcer, and as Seth Rollins turns around, he gets hit with a rock bottom. So Seth turns around right into the rock bottom from The Rock, who was not too happy about Rollins, kind of giving him a little shove out of the way as Rollins went over to cash in. So Rock hits the rock bottom on Seth Rollins before the official cash in, and it is The Rock standing tall over Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in the middle of a ring. 88 segment overall to end things here. So we teased a lot there. I mean, we teased the cash in. We're obviously not yet going in that direction, but I really loved how this came together with the possibilities of doing all this kind of after the main event, given everything that's kind of played up there. You've got Reigns taunting Priest. You've got Rock who comes in and hits the rock bottom on Reigns. And then Seth is like, all right, I'm going to get the cash in. He comes in, gets a little overzealous, pushes The Rock out of the way. The Rock doesn't like that too much. rock bottom on Rollins, no cash in. So a very fun way to end this SmackDown. And I was really happy with how this came together, trying to sort of plot everything about this show. I knew it was going to evolve a lot. It was going to really kind of set the direction for us on SmackDown with certain storylines. But this was fun to do. And let's see what we got from a rating standpoint. 87 overall. So this is our best show ever. 40 episodes in now. This is our best episode, period. And 87, the first time we've hit the light blue. I think our best show to this point was an 83 or an 84. But I mean, clearly, when you look at what we did, there was just so much on this show that, I mean, obviously, when you look at how we ended the show, great main event, great segments to end things off. I could not be any happier with this show outside of that Sami Zayn Jeff Hardy match. So you can hear it in my voice. I'm thrilled with this edition of SmackDown. And yes, this kind of rejuvenates SmackDown a little bit. Not that it needed it, but I mean, we've got a very clear direction of where we're going with things on SmackDown as we build towards No Mercy, which will be the next SmackDown pay-per-view, which will take place, of course, in October. So we still got a little ways to get there, but man, this episode of SmackDown delivered on every possible level, and we got a lot coming out of it. There's a lot of fallout from this SmackDown, but let's see what else we need to get to. Before we wrap, I feel like we should just sit and let it just kind of sink in, this 87 for this show. Maybe we'll just do a 5-minute pause. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. Let's see what we need to get to before we wrap up. All right, so SmackDown, we struck gold. You bet we did. We were trying to figure out if that was our best match to this point. Well, we know for sure that was our best show in the save thus far. After 40 episodes, this edition of SmackDown, the highest rated show we've had to this point. So just fantastic stuff on that. Let's look at anything else that's noteworthy here. The G1 Climax is going on in New Japan, so that's worth noting here. Let's look at our email. New Japan dating. Mio Abe and Kota Ibushi have begun dating. So Ibushi resigns with New Japan, and what do you know? He's found himself a new partner. So good for Kota Ibushi on that. He will not be joining WWE anytime soon. Jordan Grace staying with Impact on a handshake deal. We had her shortlisted, so that's why that's there. MLW making a contract extension to Calvin Tankman. That's also worth noting. Kairi Sane is now a regular wrestler instead of just whatever I guess she was before. So that's worth noting. Drug test fees, the usual. SmackDown gets a 5.57. I think that's probably our highest rated edition of SmackDown. I'm thinking usually we do like in the mid fives, I want to say. So that's probably the highest too. So wow, this SmackDown, just man, what do you say about this? Let's jump into this real quick. Matt Riddle. So we had the discussion on the last episode. What do we do with Matt Riddle? He is considered toxic. A lot of stuff coming out of this. We have no idea when he's going to be able to come out of that toxic sort of scenario. So unfortunately, as we discussed a little bit in the comments on the previous episode, we are going to make a decision here, and is actually going to involve not re-signing Matt Riddle. So we are going to withdraw our contract offer. So for now, Riddle possibly hitting free agency, and if he goes out of that toxic sort of spot, we will re-sign him. But otherwise, we have a loaded roster, and it is what it is at this point. And so that's kind of where things stand on that with Riddle. So not re-signing him. But let's go through and see where that Reigns Damian Priest match was in terms of where it ranks on our list here. And we can go to the user stats and see that so there it was. So it was confirmed. Our best match, Roman Reigns, Damian Priest, 83 overall. And as we said, that was easily our best show, SmackDown, 87. Fantastic stuff. And look, hey, we just said it too. Like, I wasn't sure, but that was our highest rated SmackDown, our highest viewership. That's SmackDown right there. What a show. I mean, what else can you say? We have our best match. We have our best show overall, highest TV rating, highest viewership. That SmackDown definitely exceeded expectations. I thought it was going to be a big show, but my goodness, it exceeded even the expectations I had for that. So fantastic stuff there. And that was SmackDown. And I don't know how we're going to follow that up on Raw, because we've got a pretty fun edition of Raw. It's going to be the go-home episode for Unforgiven, which I am still very thrilled about what we're going to be doing at Unforgiven. But that's SmackDown. Like, I'm ready to just get to the next SmackDown because we got a lot of momentum coming out of that. But the next edition will be Raw. It will be the go-home episode for our Unforgiven pay-per-view with a lot of matches already lined up. There will be more added. But for now, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I always enjoy the feedback. You guys are just great with that. I love going back and forth, hearing your ideas, hearing all kinds of stuff that you're looking forward to seeing with everything we got going on in this series. So be sure to do all that again, like and share and all that. And on the next episode, it will be the next edition, or this week 4, September edition of Raw before our Unforgiven pay-per-view. And it should be a fun one as we move towards our big Raw branded pay-per-view at Unforgiven.